Warning. The feature you're about to view contains harsh colors and pulsing lights that may be harmful to certain viewers. If you proceed and at any point feel like you're experiencing symptoms of photosensitive epilepsy or seizure, please seek medical attention immediately.
So not long ago, an analog horror by the name of LyraHorrorz caught my eye. Even before it had been fully released, I had been watching the development for a while as it was being posted by its producer, LyraHorrorz. And after its full release, I have 100% certainty that LyraHorrorz is now my favourite analog horror by a long shot. Now, it might be due to the fact that there is a very small amount of analog horrors that I have actually watched, or because it is just so well done, but LyraHorrorz has given me emotions that I have not felt from horror in a long time. LyraHorrorz is so well made, and even though it has a short runtime of only 16 minutes, it still managed to make itself known that it was so much of a high quality that it just immediately became one of my favorite pieces of horror media that I have seen in a long time. Like, LyraHorrorz managed to do something that is somewhat of a very rare occurrence for me in horror, and it is making me fully feel connected to the main character. Throughout its runtime, I felt so many different emotions, like fear and anxiety and even disgust at times. But at the end of it, I actually felt relief for the character being safe. But we'll get to that later. First, I think it's in order to do a quick run-through of the film itself, and of course I heavily suggest that you go and watch the video itself first, because it is such a good experience and one that I wish that I could wipe from my memory just so I could go and watch it again and feel those emotions once more. I've said it before and I'll say it again, LyraHorrorz is probably one of the best analog horrors I've ever watched in my life, and I really think you should go and watch it if you haven't. Like, it's so good, it's so well made, and from whilst I was waiting for it to release, it was so worth it. But getting into the story itself, shortly after the beginning credits roll, we are given a short clip of the American flag before being given a very small piece of context as to what we're about to see. And I say context while that being a very long stretch, is all we're really told is, Saturday, August 16th, 2000. Something strange started happening yesterday. I put a camcorder on the bookshelf by my window in the hopes of recording it. Since the event happened around 4:15 AM last night, I set an alarm to wake myself up and press record around then. We are then put into the camcorder's vision at 4:14 AM, and after a small while of silence, the TV begins to blast static and we get a little bit more of extra context. The TV has been unplugged since 9 PM. So immediately we know that whatever the character is about to go through isn't just your basic TV glitch, and that it has to be something either supernatural or otherwise something that just defies the natural lore of electronics. But not long afterward, the TV begins whirring to life and we're greeted by a face and our main character begins to speak with it for a short time.
It's you again.
Can you hear me?
I'd like to ask you to leave.
Hear me?
Are you even listening to me? Get out of here. Jeez. What the hell are you?
Lonely.
And after our character tells the face to leave, it seems to become visibly upset and gains this very creepy looking faceless expression, as we can only presume due to the camera movement that it is causing the house to move or shake in some way that would cause the camera to move, and if not the whole house, then just the bookshelf the camera is on. However, we now learn that whatever or whoever the face is has an effect on the world outside of the TV. After this, we hear the thud of what we can assume to be the main character passing out or hitting the floor, as this horrible shrieking noise comes out of the TV. But as the camera falls to the floor, we move on to the next day. Sunday, August the 27th, 2000. It was far worse last night than it was on Saturday. I learned last night that it wasn't pre-recorded, at least I don't think so. It's trying to talk to me, that face in the television. I'm scared. But I'm gonna keep recording anyway. Maybe ignoring it will help. 4:14 a.m.
Can you hear me?
Oh God.
This time we hear the same opening phrase before we get to hear that same set of horrifying shrieks as the face doesn't get a response. Not long afterward we hear our character seemingly freaked out as they should be before they vomit before the clip ends. And then we go to the next day. Monday, August the 28th, 2000. Something is wrong. I feel sick. I can remember recording the footage, typing these up, but I can't remember the days anymore. I can't tell what that thing wants from me or why. I can't get it to stop showing up. I can't break the TV. What does that face remind me of? This time we don't get any 4:14 a.m. text, but we can assume that it's still around the same time.
Nathan, you need to wake up.
Away. And stop making yourself look like that, damn it.
What's the matter, Nathan?
You know exactly what you're trying to remind me of. I just don't like it. Ow! For the love of God, can you shut up?
No. You had your chance for me to play nice, remember? And you didn't listen!
Listen, I don't even get what you're trying to tell me.
You will understand. Just really not tonight. Good night, Nathan.
No, please. Don't leave me.
Now, this is the part that really began to exceed my expectations. And at this point in the film, we'd assume to hear the same "can you hear me" that we've gotten the first two times, but instead we learn our character's name, Nathan. It's a really good switch up, and it isn't the only one that we'll be seeing. Toward the end of this sequence, we are left with a lot of mystery. Who is this face, and how do they know Nathan, and what is Nathan being reminded of by this face that he doesn't like, but still, once it leaves, seems upset and says, "Please don't leave me." This section alone gives us so much mystery about what is going on here, and in horror, that is something to me that is one of the main pillars of making something genuinely scary. But I'll come back to this later on. During this sequence, we don't get to see what happens to Nathan, but we can assume that whatever it is causes a massive point of no return for Nathan, as the next time we see the footage, we're back at the cliff of the American flag, except it's surrounded by a new red light, and is probably one of the most effective parts of the whole film. This section is where most of those emotions from before were present. Whatever the face in the TV was, it's now spread throughout Nathan's house and is tormenting him. He states that he has no hands, and yet how does he hold the camcorder? We're led to more mystery as a sequence of text is shown on the screen. And what probably gave me the most anxiety and confusion of the whole thing is what occurs afterward. After this deeply disturbing scene, we're greeted by just normal footage. And I'll be honest that after what I've seen so far, I couldn't tell if this was real life footage or still CGI. I'll get into it more afterward, but massive props to the team that worked on the project. All of the visuals look like real life and is somewhat adjacent to modern low poly PS1 style horror games. Both have this type of horror that plagues me personally, and that is not being able to fully make something out visually. Not being able to tell what you're looking at fully and getting a vague enough idea to let you assume what it is a type of horror that just freaks me out more than any others. This sequence is pretty long, so some parts will be cut out, and the whole section is essentially just a normal car ride to the cinema with friends. The acting in this scene is really phenomenal, and if I didn't know that it was scripted, I would just assume that these were a bunch of friends going to see a movie for real. We get to see a small section of the movie they go and watch, which is I've tried oh my god, The Sixth Sense. That movie. I kid you not when I say it took me so many times to try and say that right. But they go to watch the movie, which is just a little movie about someone seeing and communicating with dead people.
I see dead people.
Yeah, I see what you did there. While this may be a form of confirmation that what Nathan is experiencing is something paranormal, it does it in a way that doesn't take away from the mystery of it. We still don't know why he's being haunted or how it began, but it's a really neat way of storytelling that I can appreciate that isn't in your face about it, and you could completely miss it the first time you're watching it. And who knows, it might not even be like a nod to the lore, it might just be they like the Sixth Sense. I'm not even trying to, it's the Sixth Sense now. That's just how I'm saying it, that's how I'm going to say it forever. But after exiting the car on the way home, we get to see one of the last sequences of the film.
Go.
See you later. Thanks for
Yep.
coming out with us.
Of course. Alright. The fuck are they so quiet? Aiden? What the fuck? No.
I'm here again. I was so close this time. I know it's you. Can you please just say something?
This is the farthest we've ever come, the two of us. Before you, it's a choice. If you truly wish to be free, step forward and open the door. Or you can turn around, walk the other way, and we can do this all over again. For both of our sakes, Nathan, please make the right choice. I can't make you do this.
What are you? I see. Silent treatment. I guess I expected that.
Now, before I let you see what's beyond that door, I want to talk about what is said here. What we learn from this short interaction is that this has happened multiple times before. Whether that be from all the way back at the beginning with Nathan's first experience with the face up until now, or just the car ride alone. What we also learn is that through the door in front of us is Nathan's freedom, which also is very vague. This blue entity might also be different to the red one that we saw before, or they could be the same thing in different contexts. But I personally think that this blue entity is not the one that's been terrorizing Nathan this whole time, because instead of terroring him, he's being helped by it. But once Nathan chooses to go through the door, we get this final scene.
No. This is all wrong. What happened here? Where did everything go?
I'm so sorry. I know this is hard for you, believe me. But it's time to move on now. You're free.
Will anybody remember me? Will anybody even care?
I've made sure of that. Goodbye, Nathan.
Goodbye. Thank you.
We get a small tour of the now abandoned looking building, covered in overgrown plants and left to rot before we see the blue face, who informs Nathan that it's time to move on. And after Nathan asks if will anyone remember him or even care, she simply states, "I've made sure of that," which even to the end of this film keeps us with that uncertainty it has given us all throughout. And obviously there's that last line of text that we receive. Tuesday, September 1st, 2009. And wow. Watching this scene for the first time gave me a sense of relief that horror media hasn't been able to give me in such a long time. True and utter relief that the main character is now safe. With other analog horrors, you kind of expect something bad is gonna happen to the characters in the end. However, in Radar, we get to see Nathan go free. That first view of daylight and nature through the window gave me such a breath of fresh air, which other modern horror hasn't given me in a very long time. Radar managed to genuinely surprise me all throughout its runtime, and even at the very end, it hasn't over-explained itself to get rid of the horror, which I believe is Radar's strongest point. That is, its ability to make you assume things. Not once throughout the film do we get any kind of explanation or backstory as to what's going on, but we get small enough hints throughout it that gives us the ability to assume what it could be. The fact that the TV was originally unplugged, the conversation between Nathan and the face showing that they know each other, and even the Sixth Sense scene, all the way done to those final lines with the blue face. We never get any kind of full closure on anything, and that's why Radar is my favorite analog horror that I've watched. And if I'm being honest, it genuinely has the potential to become one of my favorite pieces of horror media of all time. Even just taking a break away from the story itself, the visuals that we see throughout the film are so well done, but like I said before, I had no idea if what I was looking at was edited real-life footage or entirely CGI scenes. The use of the old quality that 2000s cameras had is what I believe helps Radar in its visuals, and we also see at some points throughout the film that the camera itself becomes more fuzzy and blurred as more disturbing things happen. Even during sections I could obviously tell had to be CGI, I still felt like I was watching something that was real. Accompany this with the most amazing soundtracks that I've heard. that are playing throughout the entire time that you're watching it, you have the recipe for one of the best horror medias that I have been witness to. And of course, talking about the use of the soundtrack, Radar also uses the effectiveness of silence too. During those scenes with the TV before it even turns on, we are left with this shroud of nauseating silence. Going to the other end of that section, we have sections like the scene where Nathan is just at the full extent of his terror, where the soundtrack that accompanied it made me feel just as panicked and anxious as Nathan was probably feeling himself. Overall, the scene and its use of these microscopic visuals just really freaked me out, which isn't something that I can say for a lot of other horror medias I see in modern times. Radar is such a good analog horror, and if I'm being honest, it made me love it so much that I stopped my progress on my other video about Security Breach's Ruin DLC to make this, because of how good it is and what emotions it made me feel. If you've gotten to the end of the video, I heavily suggest going and supporting all the people who worked on the project. They all worked really hard on it, and it shows. And of course, they're all really cool people too. YouTube still doesn't let me put links in the descriptions, but as soon as it does, I'll be putting links to everyone who worked on Radar, as they seriously did a good job and deserve all the support and recognition they can get. And apart from that, I have nothing else to say. Thank you so much for watching me babble about a film that came out literally 12 hours ago at the time of finishing the script. It would mean the world to me if you decided to subscribe or just stick around for my other videos. I'm still new to making these kind of videos, but they are really enjoyable to make. I have a lot of videos planned for the future covering other kinds of horror media, so if you like this video, I'd suggest sticking around for the next one. Bye bye.